more peace for your motherfucking ass. It's me, Asante Amin, broadcasting live, day 8. And tonight, I have quotes from the preliminary chapters of The Artist Way. So, I'm currently in Colorado attending a music educators conference. I'm presenting Thursday, but I have a performance tomorrow night. And so I've been in flux. I've been moving around. Let me see if I could tap into the chat. Okay, I got the chat popping. Cause last night, there were people typing in the chat, but I didn't have Twitch open. So shout out to YouTube. Shout out to the Twitch community. We out here. Now your boy is tired. It's the end of the night, but I'm committed. And I'm not saying that to convince myself I could do this. I'm actually excited. I'm excited to consistently do this every day. And there's a quote by Pablo Picasso, which I've been thinking about a lot. And the quote is, painting is just another way of keeping a diary. But I think anything you do consistently, creatively, with vulnerability is a diary. So a diary doesn't have to be necessarily picking up something and writing down. Keeping a diary can be your creative practice as long as you do it consistently and you allow yourself to be vulnerable. As long as you're consistent and you demonstrate vulnerability, anything can be a diary. So I'm excited to keep a diary that can be public facing, that I can share with the general public. A lot of times you do a diary, it's just for you, right? So I'm excited to keep a diary, a digital diary that's public facing. And so not only will I have the benefit of my process, my growth, my insights. Wow, it just occurred to me that through technology, I don't know who the fuck is gonna see this, hear these words, and I don't know when they'll hear it and when they'll see it, and I don't know how it will inspire them in the future, and that's an extremely humbling thing to think about. So with that being said, I think tonight I just want to highlight quotes from these preliminary chapters that resonated with me deeply. And I write quotes down because they're like prompts, they're inspirational. You always need a good quote, especially when you're doing presentations. They're great jumping off points and they frame macro ideas in real succinct sentences. In other words, quotes to me are bars. You know, somebody's rapping, great punchline, great delivery. You say, "Damn, that was a bar." So when I see a great quote, it's like a great bar. It's like a great rap bar. You know what I'm saying? So tonight I thought it would be dope to just share some of my favorite quotes, because inside preliminary chapters, inside of The Artist Way, um, there are quotes on the side of the photos. All right. Let me see if I can see activity. I don't know. Y'all gotta forgive me. I'm still learning how this thing works. So, oh, here we go. Welcome to the chat room. Excellent, excellent. So I'm in the chat room right now and I can see if anybody hit your boy up. So with that being said, again, y'all know the vibes. I'm not here for a long time. I'm here for a short time, but a quality time. And just so you all know, once I get back home, back in New Orleans, I'll be able to stream a little longer, different times of the day. But while I'm at this conference, the day is top heavy, and I want to be present with the people I'm at this conference. I'm here with some remarkable educators. I'm talking about masters of the craft who are just inspiring. Every conversation is like education. Every conversation, like they don't know it, but I be taking notes while they just rattling off their ideas in that building. So there's power in the cipher. There's power in community. There's power in holding space with people you respect, because each one of us has a little piece of the puzzle. So with that being said, I'm gonna just hop right in, and I'm gonna share some of the quotes I found really like amazing in the artist way. The first one is by Paul Tillich, and it merely states, "Man is asked to make himself what he is supposed to become to fulfill his destiny." I'm gonna say that again. Man is asked to make himself what he's supposed to become to fulfill his destiny. It's nice. Next one. Why indeed must God be a noun? Why not a verb? The most active and dynamic of them all. Mary Daly. I'm going to say that again. Why indeed must God be a noun? Why not a verb? The most active and dynamic of all. The next comes from Joel Goldsmith. God must become an activity in our consciousness. I love that. God must become a activity in our consciousness. Another homie of mine, a big homie of mine who's an educator as well, he said God is a process. That's always been like really profound to me. People think of God as a noun, and people have these really abstract concepts of God. But he said, no, God is a process you use to actualize. It's the process that things go from being nothing to something that is God. That always stayed with me. But this quote resonates with that. God must become an activity of our consciousness. The next one by Mary Daly again. It is the creative potential itself in human beings that is the image of God. It is the creative potential itself in human beings that becomes the image of God. This next one is by Joseph Pierce. It states, we must accept that this creative pulse within us is God's creative pulse itself. We must accept that this creative pulse within us is God's creative pulse. What I love about all of this is the meditation on the fact that God is within, that we are God essentially. God is not away. God is not far away from us. We share in the creative power of God. This one is by Amos Ferguson. I paint not by sight, but by faith. Faith gives you sight. I love this because he's flipping scripture. I love when people creatively flip scripture, because they usually say, I walk by faith, not by sight. He said, no, I paint by faith, not by sight. I paint not by sight, but by faith. Faith gives me sight. I love that. Some people will believe it when they see it. Other people see it because they believe it. This is Ralph Waldo Emerson. Peep game. What lies behind us and what lies before us are tiny matters compared to what lie within us. Bars. If I had the bombs, I'd do 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 do. Here's another one. Ingris Burgess. Words are a form of action capable of influencing change. Powerful. This is Robbie Gass. Like an ability or muscle, hearing your inner wisdom is strengthened by doing it. Here's another one by Picasso. I love this one. Picasso got that work. You dig? He said, painting is just another way of keeping a diary. I started off this session with that one right there. You heard me? Painting is just another way of keeping a diary. This is Stephen Nachmanovich. The most potent muse of all is our own inner child. The most potent muse of all is our own inner child. It's profound. Another one from the god Pablo Picasso. Every child is an artist. The problem is how to remain an artist once we grow up. Every child is an artist. We are born as artists. We are born as creatives. That is so true. That is, in fact, one of the biggest challenges of life are preserving our aesthetic as artists. In Islam, I was taught that every child is born with fitra, which is the curious nature, the enlightened nature, the nature to want knowledge, to want to serve God. And it's the job of the parents to create an environment that preserves the fitra. I feel like this quote is in line with that. Every child is an artist. The problem is how to remain an artist once we grow up. Pablo Picasso. It's profound. Lastly but not leastly, so you see, imagination needs moodling, long, inefficient, happy idling, dawdling, and puttering. And it's a reminder, even when we're taking our time, exploring things in our environment, taking walks, being bored, the imagination needs that time. Well, that's been my time. It's always more important to have quality time than a lot of time. I hope you get something from what I'm offering, what I'm sharing. Have a wonderful evening. This has been day 8 of Reflections and Meditations on the Artist Way. And I've been your host, Asante Amin.